Let's be honest for a second. Most people never actually decide what they want from life. They pick from a menu somebody else wrote. School, job, mortgage, retirement, done. And somewhere around age 30, they feel this quiet little ache that says, wait, was there something I actually wanted? There was. There is. And that's exactly what this book is about. This is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And I'm going to tell you the story of a shepherd boy named Santiago. Because his story is your story. And by the end of this video, you'll see why. So there's this boy in Spain. His parents worked their whole lives just to eat, and they had one dream for him: become a priest. Safe, respectable, guaranteed. But Santiago wanted one thing: to travel. And when he finally works up the courage to tell his father doesn't yell at him. He does something worse. He says, fine, but the only people who travel are shepherds. And he gives him 3 gold coins to buy a flock. And here's the detail I love. The book says Santiago saw in his father's eyes that his father had wanted the same thing his whole life, and he'd buried it. Under decades of waking up in the same place, eating the same bread, telling himself it wasn't possible. Look at your own parents. Look closely. Most of us are walking around carrying a dream our parents were too afraid to chase, and adding our own fear on top of it. So Santiago becomes a shepherd. And honestly, his life is pretty good. He loves his sheep. There's a merchant's daughter he likes. He has a book, a jacket, wine, and this is where most stories would end. But then he has a dream. Twice. Same dream. A kid takes his hands, teleports him to the pyramids of Egypt, and says, "There's a treasure buried here. Come find it." Now, what do you do with a dream like that? Be honest. You'd do what he almost did. Nothing. Except Santiago goes to see an old woman who interprets dreams. And then he meets this strange old man in the town square who claims to be a king. And this old man tells him the single most important idea in the entire book. When you really want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. But then he explains why almost nobody gets it. Everyone knows exactly what they want when they're young. And then, slowly, a mysterious force starts convincing you it's impossible. That force has a name in your life. It's your relatives at dinner. It's your bank account. It's that voice at 2 a.m. And abandoning your dream never feels dramatic. It just feels like being reasonable. So Santiago does the unreasonable thing. He sells his sheep, everything he owns, and takes a boat to Africa. And I need you to feel how insane this is. He can't speak Arabic. He's never left Spain. He's 19. And within his first day in Tangier, a guy who speaks Spanish offers to guide him to the pyramids, takes all his money, and disappears into the market. Everything gone. Day 1. And this, right here, is where the book earns its reputation. Because Santiago sits in that empty market crying, and then he catches himself thinking something. He realizes he has a choice. He can see himself as a victim of a thief or as an adventurer looking for treasure. Read that again. Same kid, same empty pockets, same foreign city. 2 completely different lives, depending on one sentence he says to himself. And how many of us picked the victim sentence years ago and never noticed we were still saying it? So he chooses adventurer. He needs money, so he walks into a crystal shop and starts cleaning glasses. Nobody asked him to. The owner feeds him lunch and hires him. Be led on the Pausdurchen to firework. As your Tanala. A style the hand you minty. She had's puffershit and real. And this crystal merchant, said me. Man. This character haunts me. He's a good man. Honest, kind, religious. And every Muslim is supposed to make the pilgrimage to Mecca once in their life. It's his dream. He's had the money for years. I have asked him, yes Toranzalai, dil we need to wake shayadid. Roman. And when Santiago asks him why he's never gone, listen to what he says. Because it's the thought of Mecca that keeps me alive. I'm afraid that if my dream is realized, I'll have no reason to go on living. He keeps the dream on a shelf like one of his crystal glasses. Beautiful, untouched, and completely useless. And the scariest part? He knows. He looks Santiago dead in the eye and says, "You and I are different, because I don't want to change anything, and you do." Some people would rather die with the dream intact than live with the risk of breaking it. Don't you dare become the crystal merchant. Santiago works there 11 months. He gets good at business. He doubles the shop's income. And here's the trap. He now has enough money to buy twice as many sheep as before and go home a winner. Comfort is back on the table. This is the thing nobody tells you about chasing a dream. The biggest test isn't the disaster. It's the decent opportunity to quit halfway and call it wisdom. He almost takes it. Then he remembers the old king, packs his bag, and joins a caravan crossing the Sahara instead. In the caravan, he meets an Englishman obsessed with alchemy, the science of turning lead into gold. And the two of them are a perfect experiment because they learn in opposite ways. The Englishman has read every book ever written and learned nothing from the desert. Santiago can barely read, but he watches. The wind, the camels, the silence. And the desert teaches him what the book calls the language of the world, the omens, the signs that are always there, if you're actually paying attention instead of scrolling past your own life. Neither approach is wrong, by the way. The book's point is sharper. Knowledge you don't live is just decoration. Then the caravan reaches an oasis, and Santiago sees a girl at the well named Fatima. And I'm not going to pretend this part isn't romantic. He knows instantly. And now the book throws its hardest test at him. Way harder than the thief. Love. Because Santiago thinks, this is it. This is my treasure. I'll stay. And when he tells Fatima he wants to stay for her, this desert woman says the most secure thing anyone says in the entire book. No. Go. Uzi open Longston engages. Hi NC City and grind consistent my guys, very fine mornadian amidst 40 to go to about tripimo lettelinen before I've showler. I knows they plights, all jorment, and show him says ask, but she says, if you stay for me, you'll always wonder. And one day the omens will leave your eyes, and I'll see it, and the love will die anyway. If I'm really part of your dream, you'll come back. 3. Real love doesn't ask you to shrink. Anyone who demands your dream as proof of your love is not offering you love. They're offering you a smaller cage with 2 people in it. So he goes. He meets the actual alchemist of the title. This 200-year-old master who rides out of the desert like a legend. And the alchemist's job in this story is basically to remove Santiago's last excuse. At one point, Santiago's heart is pounding with fear, telling him to stop. And he complains about it. And the alchemist says, never silence your heart. Listen to it. Because the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself. And no heart has ever suffered while chasing its dream. Hold on to that. Because everything Santiago has learned is about to be tested in the desert. All at once. Then war breaks out. They get captured. And the alchemist casually bets Santiago's entire life. He tells the tribal chief that this boy can turn himself into the wind. Santiago has 3 days. He has no idea how to do it. None. And on the 3rd day, standing on a cliff in front of armed men, this shepherd boy talks to the desert, talks to the wind, talks to the sun. And the wind comes. The book goes full mystical here, and you can read it literally or not, I don't care. The meaning is the same either way. The moment you go all in, no exit, no backup plan, you find capacities in yourself that comfortable people never get to meet. That's the real alchemy. It was never about metal. The lead is you, before. The gold is you, after. So he finally reaches the pyramids, digs where his heart tells him, and gets jumped by thieves who beat him half to death and take everything. Again. And as they're leaving, the leader looks at this bleeding kid and laughs. He says, "You should know better than to be this stupid." 2 years ago, right here, I dreamed about a treasure too, buried in Spain, in a ruined church where shepherds sleep, under a sycamore tree. But I'm not dumb enough to cross a desert over a dream. And Santiago starts laughing. Because that's his church. That's the exact tree he was sleeping under the night this whole thing started. The treasure was home the entire time. He goes back, digs under the sycamore, and finds a chest of Spanish gold. And no, the journey wasn't pointless. The thief had the same dream and stayed home, and got nothing. The map to your treasure is only handed to the version of you that made the trip. So here's what I want you to take from this. You already had your dream. Unifer Infustra Halfern Treeman says, "The universe doesn't repeat itself twice for no reason. The mysterious force told you it's impossible, and it lied. The thief will come, and you'll get to pick your sentence. Victim or adventurer. The crystal merchant will show you how comfortable a shelved dream can look. And your treasure is probably closer than you think, but you'll never be able to see it from where you're currently standing. If any of this hit you, do yourself a favor and read the actual book. It's short. You'll finish it in 2 evenings, and there's no way I can do it justice in 11 minutes. And then close the book and go take the first step. The universe is waiting to conspire, but you have to move first."